This is cutting down the nets. Hey, who's gonna cut down the nets? Who's climbing the ladder today with the goofy scissors and actually cutting down the nets? Let's see what Paddy says. We split the Final Four game, albeit one was a strong Paddy play and one was a fringe play. Strong Paddy. Paddy said North Carolina by 4.6. And sure enough, North Carolina dethrones Duke by 4. On the year, 55.5%. You can see the consistency month by month. Let's get to the national championship game. Paddy, I'm going to give you a little peek behind the curtain again today. We've got North Carolina, Kansas. So the Paddy number, because you have to come up with a number. The Paddy number is 2.038. So fringe play at best, about 2 points of value. So look, I haven't had much luck betting these games that aren't showing a lot of value. As you saw during the regular season, I like at least 3 points and typically like 3.5 to 4 or more. So this is light in terms of value. And you saw that during the Elite Eight, no games were above 3. And then in the Final Four, the Villanova-Kansas game was under 3. And then the North Carolina-Duke game had 9 points of value, which was significant. So Paddy says 2. Shot quality 5.3. Torvik 5.7. KenPom 6. And the point spread as of right now is 4. So from a number standpoint, I'd like to see a 5 or a 6. It's not going to happen. So we're talking about a live betting scenario. You can get creative in how you do this. Maybe you do a half unit on North Carolina spread and then watch the game. Maybe North Carolina gets out to an early lead, never looks back, and that live betting opportunity wouldn't have been there. Maybe they fall down early and you can grab, a +6, +6.5 or something like that. So some ideas. But let me show you a little bit about what I'm looking for when I bet. And you can see how I'm going to give you an example of this as well. So full season data has Kansas by 6.094. And you're kind of seeing that KenPom's got 6, Torvik's got 5.7. I've been speaking about this the whole year, that these sites shade towards recent play, but don't go as bananas as I do when weighting recent play. But what's all this other stuff? Let's just say you use the last 6 games. What would the efficiencies predict for an outcome? Using the last 6 games, Kansas by 2.4. Last 7 games, Kansas by 1.1. So you can see how much it changes game by game as certain games are included in that data set, certain games fall off from that data set. I don't exceed 15, and then how I massage this into that will remain a secret. But here's the danger with like arbitrary cutoffs. If we said like let's just pretend this point spread was 2 or 2.5, and you looked at only the last 13 games, it'd be like, oh, Kansas by 3.7, so Paddy likes Kansas. But what if you use the last 12? It'd be like, no, actually it's a North Carolina play. So what I like to do is I do massage it into one number, but I like to read this as a context. And I'm looking for consistency. So consistency is these numbers are consistently on the North Carolina side, whether you're looking at 6 games, 15 games, something in between, or running some sort of algorithm to put that into one number. So that gives you a little bit of kind of how I developed Paddy and what I would look at. And I think it's interesting to see how much that stuff changes game by game. So the danger, like Bart Torvik has, you can just do last 10. But the last 10, in this case, was 1.722. Sometimes that last 10 could be far different than the last 12 or last 6. I don't know. It's just something to think about. So all my data points lean North Carolina. Not all my data points say bet North Carolina. This one's really the only one that says that, and then the one right next to it says I'd be careful. Something to note, though, Kansas's adjusted efficiency against Villanova is like a 158 or something like that, which is really strong. And we saw that. They shot the lights out and were rewarded for their efforts. But that's being factored into each of these games. Again, nothing different for me, nothing really changing. Again, at this point, it's a lean North Carolina. Let's dig in a little more and pull up the actual script. So here is the data I'm using for each of the team's profiles. I'm giving North Carolina just under a 118 adjusted offense and just below an 88 for adjusted defense with standard deviations between 10 and 12. For Kansas, I'm giving them a 120.4 offense, so better offense, and then a slightly better defense, albeit close. The point spread is 4. I simulate that data set with those standard deviations and those outcomes 10,000 times. I'm getting North Carolina coming within 54% of the time. So you can see how much better that would be if it was 5 or 6. And that's kind of like where I wish we had it. Ignore this. That's just the final outcome of the 10,000 simulations. And then the Paddy spread is 2.038 with a total of 149.5. I don't use that total very much. But yeah, you can kind of get a feel for what I'm looking at. I know that's a little hard to see, but this graph would show you all the outcomes. The red line is the point spread. To the left is Kansas cashing bets. To the right is North Carolina cashing bets. And there's just slightly more distribution on the North Carolina side. So what that looks like to me is North Carolina +4 if I had to bet it. You kind of saw that in the Elite Eight where it's like, look, there's not much value here, but I'm betting the games. Who cares? Similar situation tonight. I mean, we're talking super tight variance, but that's the side I'm on and just would want a better number if it produced itself live. So what I will do to make it official and have it show up on BetStamp and show people that I am interested in this game, I'm going to log a half unit on the North Carolina side, but I will be looking specifically for live opportunities that are a little bit greater than that. From schematic standpoint, I'd recommend Staring at the Floorboards by Jordan Majeski. I think he had a nice write-up on the game. Eli Hershkovich posted a thing. Again, I'm the data guy. I rely on these guys for matchups and personnel, and I think they have a good pulse on the game as well. So what that looks like for me is watching the game and trying to find the right opportunity, which can be super frustrating at times. I also created a Twitter handle, finally. Boomer Central here, but it is CDTN_Paddy. Will be a great communication tool for the offseason as well as next year. I'll probably just post the spreadsheet as part of the Twitter profile. The video content will still be there, just may not be as frequent. I got to sort that out and figure out what I want to do there. But it has been a fun season. Let's hope we get a good live number on North Carolina or just cash this 4.5 or whatever outright as well. Thanks for stopping by. I will do a futures show probably in the next 60 days. There are a lot of transfers that need to settle, but yeah, there might be some opportunity. I was able to get 2 or 3 into the Elite Eight, and at the end of the day, Kentucky losing to St. Peter's in overtime, yeah, that was quite the upset. Man, they win that game. They've got Murray State, and they've got Purdue, and they've got North Carolina, and they got Duke. Then they're looking at, like, man, I know it sounds like ridiculous to suggest Kentucky should be national champions, but if they just get by St. Peter, certainly a path there in terms of opponents. Yeah, so I'll leave you on that note. This is Cutting Down the Nets.